And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final race of the second round of the Season 9 Bandit Racing League playoffs. I'm your host, as always, here of the Full Send Racing Network, Marshall Crocker Jr., and we are in for a really great event tonight here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, the final short track of Season number 9. What a year it's been to this point, and I can honestly say that tonight, we've had some short track races in the past that have been a little bit less than plain. We've had a couple, not to call them caution fests, but that is a reasonable thing to call. We've had some races this season here at the short tracks that haven't been everything we hoped they'd be. But tonight, I think genuinely because of how technical the track is, how the stakes are higher than ever. Tonight means so much for certain drivers, and I think tonight's going to be a really, really fun one, and I hope you're all pretty excited. We had a great race last week at Darlington. We were pretty spoiled there with that one, so hoping for something similar tonight. But the guys that are going to be fighting tonight, you see him on the left-hand side of your screen there. Nick Nickerson, the guy coming in with the most points of anybody who is not locked into the round of 4. Remember, Bret Guzik, the only driver at the moment to make it into the Championship 4 as of right now, because he won at Eldora 2 weeks ago. Other than that, a guy who's just below the cutoff tonight needs a big race, the 92 of Tony Hillbrands. He's going to be looking for, only 4 points back of Kevin Foster, the final driver, I believe, in the top 4. No, he may be 9 points back. We'll pull up the playoff bracket in just a moment and double check, but he is not too far back. But tonight's going to be a big night for the 92. You've also got Cody Welch last week, came so close to what would have been a really spirited win there for the 85, but unfortunately due to late race strategy call and some lingering damage, he was unable to take away the win last week at Darlington. But again, came darn close. And again, Ricky Hart, he's had quite a season for himself so far. Did not have the luck he needed last week. Got in a late race wreck from the lead. That win would have punched his ticket to the round of 4, but suddenly he finds himself out of the playoff bubble. So there are going to be some guys with some big drives tonight, and guys that are definitely going to be pushing more than they would usually. You might see a different side of drivers come out tonight. A little bit more aggression, a little bit more willingness to put the bumper to other drivers, and what better track to do it at than Myrtle Beach, one of the best short tracks, on the entire service, but certainly one of the most technical. But tonight, before we get to that, it is the EvanWallMedia.com 125. And unfortunately, we don't have Evan Wall with us tonight, longtime commentator of the series and longtime friend of the channel. Unfortunately, he will not be with us tonight. But as always, he makes all the graphics for this channel, everything for the series, everything in terms of the logos, to paint schemes for drivers such as Brandon Jackson, who I've always said has one of the best paint schemes in the series. That was done by Evan. He's driven in the truck this season. He's just so much to us on behalf of not only the channel, but the series as a whole. And tonight's in honor of him, in honor of his website and everything he does on his personal side. So EvanWallMedia.com, just to give you a little bit of information about what he does. If you go over there, you can check out everything about him. Everything I'm about to say here is going to be reiterated if you go check out his website there. But you can see his portfolio, see some of the stuff he's worked on in the past. It's also got offerings for his graphic design work, so if you want a logo done, if you want some iRacing paint schemes, if you're in a similar situation, just some cool stuff to check out. And again, supporting Evan and everything he does, because he does a lot of cool stuff in his background. He's an incredibly talented guy, and I know he's just as busy with school as I am right now. So again, the utmost sympathy for him, and hope the rest of his semester goes quite well. But yeah, EvanWallMedia.com, go check it out. That is the sponsor of tonight's race, and the second to last sponsor of the season. Both races in the next 2 weeks will be sponsored by the same sponsor, but we will get into that next week. So, well, with that, we are about ready to go for tonight's race. But before we get to that, you guys know what we do here on the pre-show. We got to go over last week's race, and again, I talked about it a couple minutes ago, but Darlington last week, man, what a race that was. So many storylines, so many drivers that could have come close to a win, almost picked up a win, and some with unfortunately heartbreaking endings that meant they couldn't. So let's go to your race recap tonight for last week's race at Darlington Raceway, to be specific. And in the Iverson Crane 100 at Darlington Raceway, it was Cody Welch, your pole sitter, for I believe the second week in a row. He was your pole sitter at Eldora after an original heat race, and he got off to a great start in the 85, running a special throwback livery, the orange and white there, like many other drivers on the night. But in the very first time through turn 2, Benny Hogan getting a little bit loose, getting into the already loose Christopher Hamilton in the 15 truck, who's had a great year so far, would find himself in the inside wall. On the other side of the spectrum, Cody Welch found himself on the outside wall there early, taking that signature Darlington stripe off the right side of the truck early in the race. That would put him behind the 8 ball, and he'd start losing spots, first to Hart, then to Nickerson. This is a lot later in the race after a pretty long green flag cycle and a couple cautions. Bret Guzik now your leader here, but you see Benjamin Lacey getting the move done on Nick Nickerson, who just didn't seem to have the pace early on in the event. Seemed like we finally found a track that he wasn't super happy with, but their beautiful defensive move there from Cody Welch around the outside, stayed on the gas pedal to hold on to the lead just a little bit longer. Ricky Hart would eventually get by him, though. But playoff driver Benjamin Lacey already missed Eldora, and his luck would not get any better. But here is the moment of the race. Ricky Hart comfortably leading, finds himself interlocked with Jason Greenwell, a lap truck going down the front stretch, flips the 83 at Greenwell over the inside wall in the pit road, and Ricky Hart finds himself out of the event and now down in points heading into tonight's race. But Cody Welch on the final restart neglected to take tires, decided against it, had some damage, did everything he could to bring that truck and limp it to the finish line, but he would not pick up the win. He's still waiting, and it would be Brandon Jackson. A feel-good comeback after his unfortunate, very close elimination a couple weeks ago from the round of 8 at Pocono. Came so close to winning that event, but he finally gets his win at Darlington. A really fun interview, a really fun race, and definitely a feel-good story. I know a lot of people in the series, and hopefully a lot of you guys at home absolutely love Brandon. So it was great to see him pick up the win there, and extremely well-deserved. It was one of the best all-together performances, the most well-put-together drives I've ever seen Brandon have. So it was a great race overall. But there is the important spreadsheet to note. So there you go. Guzik has already made his way to the Championship 4, remember, with his win at Eldora. With Brandon Jackson picking up the win last week at Darlington, it meant that no playoff driver would get a spot locked in on a win, so we went back to points. And in the points, it is Nickerson and Welch tied at 86 points apiece, sitting exactly, well, as for the moment, they're sitting comfortably above the cutoff, a full 17 points ahead. So they're in a pretty comfortable spot right now. Only 24 drivers currently in the session, so they'd have to finish quite poorly in order to lose their spots. But again, it's a short track. You can never count anybody out. After that, though, Kevin Foster, 13 points down, only 4 spots up on the cutoff. But Kevin Foster's had a very quiet playoff so far. I was just talking about this with Christopher Ferrara before the race, but yeah, he's just definitely not a guy that's really had a lot of time in the spotlight this season. You know, still has yet to score a win, but he's just been racking up the podiums, and he's only 4 spots ahead of Tony Hillbrands tonight. A guy who's had a horribly unlucky season, but last time we were at a short track at Nashville, he came only a couple laps on fuel away for potentially picking up the win in that race, a win that was instead taken by Brandon Jackson. And a little correction from last week, I said Brandon had 2 wins on the season with that win. He does not. He has 3 or 4, depending on how we count that race at Nashville. So he is at a greater season than I gave him credit for, and it makes it even more sad that he's not still with us in the playoffs. But finally, the final guy in contention on points, Ricky Hart, he's only 5 spots back currently. Well, 9 spots back of Kevin Foster. Definitely reasonable, definitely viable. He can make it in on points, but I think more likely Ricky's going to be going for the win, and I know he's got a few people who are definitely giving him a good shot to compete tonight, and I think it's definitely a track that'll play to his skill sets. And then finally, Benjamin Lacey, I believe, is the final driver in the field starting tonight's race. Michael Ramos has not started a race in the round, and he's not here yet tonight, so I would say he will not be running. But Benjamin Lacey needs a win to make it in, cannot make it in on points, so you want to talk about a guy who's going to be racing for his life and racing for everything he's worth, the 7 truck would be your pick. So there you go. There is your good heading into tonight. Remember, the top 4, that being anybody who's won, so Guzik, and if we have a playoff winner tonight, then that'll be those 2 drivers plus whoever's at the top in points. Currently, Nickerson and Welch pretty comfortably on top of that leaderboard. But with that, I'd like to bring in somebody who isn't going to be an official color commentator tonight, but he's definitely going to be a correspondent. We're going to get his perspective throughout the race because he's a series driver, but he's also our social media guy. He's kind of our admin, and he's been a longtime supporter of the series and has really made the current presence for the Bandit Racing League and on social media and everything else what it is. We love having him. I'm always great to talk to him. Christopher Ferrara, first of all, just what are you expecting tonight? I know you were talking about Myrtle Beach before the race and what kind of race you were expecting. And like I just mentioned, who do you think maybe is going to be a little bit more overzealous or maybe going to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to making stuff happen tonight?
This is going to be fun tonight. Tonight is going to be an absolute barn burner, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of beating and banging. There's a lot of guys that need to make some moves in the points, and not a lot of time, and there's not a lot of racetrack to do it. So I'm looking for someone like Ricky Hart to make those moves. You know, he's on the outside looking in. He had pretty much a race stolen from him last week, and I can't wait to see how this all plays out. Lap traffic is going to be huge. This is going to be an incredible race. There's nowhere to hide. Oh man, this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
No, me neither. And I think that, if there's ever a night that we were going to see a bump and run move, like, you know, think of Martinsville. If you've got any real-life NASCAR fans out there, Martinsville at the end of last year, where Kevin Harvick in the final corner of a playoff round tried to just absolutely whoop Kyle Busch out of the way to get a spot to make a playoff round. And I think tonight, genuinely, with guys like Benjamin Lacey, if he's going for the win, guys like Ricky, like Tony, if they need to make it in on points, the question is, to what extent will guys be willing to push themselves and to push the common sense of driver courtesy? So that is, I think, going to be the story of the race, and it's going to be different for everybody. We got guys that I think maybe aren't willing to make that decision, are going to be a little bit more honorable. Then we got guys that are maybe going to be a little bit hungrier for not only just, a spot in the Final Four and to race for the championship, but just a win in general. It's been very hard to come by this season with Nick's dominance for so much of the year. It's been tough to come by as wins in general. So I think that there's a good chance we'll see something happen late in the race. And, we always talk about cautions breed cautions, but I have a feeling we're going to see a fair number tonight. I wouldn't say green all the way through, but actually, interestingly, on fuel tonight, we're expecting about an 85 to 90 lap fuel cycle. With 125 laps, we could go just over one pit stop. It could be a pretty quick race in that regard. So tires as well, not going to be particularly difficult tonight. With the setup we're running here at Myrtle Beach, the tires are not going to be a massive problem overall. It's just not something guys were reporting losing a much wear in throughout the race. Of course, you're going to lose about 10 to 20% of your tire effectiveness overall, but certainly not enough that it's going to play a huge role throughout most of the runs. So that is going to be the question tonight. What can guys do on tires? We're sitting here watching qualifying, though. The first guy out, Cale Zook, last week's third-place finisher. Kind of a breakout performance with the 44. And the Zook brothers have been quick all season, but Cale Zook particularly was off to a good start last week. His brother Connor Zook had to run the first lap time, put up a 19.61. I'm expecting about a 19.3, 19.4 pull time, and Nick Nickerson is going to be the first guy to take it there. He's going to go to a 19.38, so the times are flying up on the leaderboard now. So Nick, the fastest driver. David Lakey's going to go to fourth right now in the 84 truck. Good start to the session for him. Connor Zook's going to improve to fourth. Nickerson and Guzik both still running their laps. Nickerson, can he improve? He does not. Neither does Bret Guzik. So provisionally the 2 truck, who, despite an incredible season, just a dominant year overall, has yet to actually score a win in this round. So tonight he doesn't really need one, just needs to pick up some points, but would never hurt to take one away, I would say, from his perspective. Benny Hogan, though, a nice time. Going to go second on the leaderboard. Benny's always been a quick guy here at the Oval, so would not be at all surprised to see him have a pretty great night for himself tonight. Looking throughout the field, Ricky Hart now about to run his first lap time. Let's see what the 64 truck can do. Coming across the line for the first time. Do not believe that was a valid lap attempt. So the start of lap number 1. We're going to watch the 64 truck. Actually going to go on board with him as he goes around. Another driver just put up a time. I believe it was Joshua McQuiggan, fellow Canadian like myself, puts it third on the leaderboard in that 29 DeWalt truck. So good lap time there from McQuiggan there. Nice start to the session for him. Here comes Hart, though, across the line. Doesn't, he does put up a time. Oh, but he's going to get loose in his second attempt. I don't know if his first lap didn't count or if that was just a mistake, but whatever it was, going to go half a hundredth of a second down on Nick. So 500ths off. It's the decimals in kind of a weird spot, but not far off whatsoever. So it's Nickerson and Hart on the front row. Then Hogan, McQuiggan. It's an all non-playoff driver second row. And then it's Lacey and Guzik. So I think it must have been a mistake because Ricky's got the chance to go back out and he's going to give it another shot. So whatever the case may be, Ricky's going to take one more crack at it. But the guy we got to watch, Cody Welch, coming across the line. Will he improve? Oh, to the pole, 19.23 second lap. What a lap there from Cody Welch. That is the performance you expect from Cody at this point in the season. Thinking about the year he's had, he's got 2 pulls in a row, might be 3 just like that. And I don't know about you, Chris. You've raced against the guy all season, but I feel like every passing week that the reasoning to vote Cody as your pick for the race winner gets better and better, but just week after week, it just something prevents it from happening.
Cody is a phenomenal racer, and I hate to see what happens to him on a week in, week out basis. The guy runs so well, and he's so knowledgeable, and he does everything right, and just something goes wrong. So, that's one of those guys that you want to see win. I know he's a fan favorite. I'm here in the chat right now. Everybody's hyping up Cody, and everybody wants to see him win. I know I do, because he deserves it. He almost had the championship last year, and the trucks, I don't know if it was a little bit different or a little bit of an adjustment period for him, but he is still fast. It's just putting it all together for him, and tonight may be his night. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Again, I almost wonder if it's a case of the pressure tonight kind of being off his shoulders a little bit might come in handy, because keep in mind, he's, again, 17 points above the cutoff. He doesn't need tonight on points. With only 24 drivers, he's just got to finish 7th or above to guarantee a spot in the Final Four. But, it almost takes the pressure off. Now you can just focus on getting that win. A guy like Tony Hillbrands or Benjamin Lacey, there's the potential there that you almost get too focused on the championship and you overthink things a little bit. And again, I'm not going to say that's the case, because both guys are that I just named, Tony and Ricky, are very, very skilled, very experienced guys. Same with Tony, Benjamin and Ricky. Three very experienced guys who I know are going to think things out. I know we're going to take their time, but there's definitely that pressure there. And you know, Chris, from your perspective, you were a playoff driver this season. You were with us in the first round of the season. So from a playoff perspective, what, as a driver, you know, how does being in the playoffs, how does keeping the points in the back of your mind work? And is it something you're thinking about actively, or are you just focused on racing and keeping your head down?
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those things, even trying to get into the playoffs, where you're racing every single race and you're like, oh, I need to be 4 or 5 spots in front of this guy. Where is this guy running right now? And my spotter, Charles, you know, I'm in constant communication with him. Where is this guy on track? And this is something I know these guys are paying attention for. The guys like Cody and you know, Ricky, especially tonight, and Benjamin and Tony, they're going to be constantly trying to pay attention to who's in front of them. You know, Bret has nothing to lose tonight, but I know he's going to go for the win. I know Cody's not going to not go for the win. He wants that win so bad, and yeah, it's going to be a great race, and I can't wait to see how this all plays out.
Well, here we go. Your starting grid, presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Your starting grid for tonight's race. The 85 truck with the Eagle on the front is back with the Full Send Racing Network logo in its hand. One of my favorite truck liveries in the series. And Cody Welch puts it on pole on the inside of Nick Nickerson on his outside. The top two in last year's championship, followed by the champion of 2 seasons ago. What a starting lineup this is. The only 2-time champion in series history, Kevin Foster, is going to roll off in 4th. After him, it's Benny Hogan there in the 5th spot. Joshua McQuiggan after that. Then we go to Benjamin. Oh, we are way too far. Let's back it up there a little bit. There we go. Then we go to Benjamin Lacey, playoff driver there in 7th to the inside of playoff driver. The only guy locked into the round of 4 currently, Mr. Bret Guzik. Then we go down to Tony Hillbrands there, starting in the 9th spot on the inside of Jason Greenwell. That'll round off your top 10. After that, it's an all Zook. That's the 6th row. Cale Zook to the inside of Connor Zook. Remember Cale picking up his first podium last week as the awesome Charlie Brown Christmas truck there in honor of Christmas. And I'm trying to tell what that is. That's I can't quite tell what that truck is, but if somebody knows what that reference is, it's pretty cool. Another Christmas truck for both the Zooks tonight. Then it's Matt Crockett alongside David Lakey. And we got Nolan Gross and Mark Allen Bivens, a very young row on that side of the grid. Then we got Gary Moore, John Graham, Eddie Haggy, Steve Ulrich, Bill Harkins, Andrew Zook, and Gary Wright. And that'll be the end of your grid for tonight's race at Myrtle Beach, the final race of the round of 8 of the playoffs. And we are ready to go, doubled up, stacked up, and we are off. Cody Welch going to lead us to green. Nickerson on the outside. Green flag for the EvanWallMedia.com 125 at Myrtle Beach. Cody on the inside, Nick on the outside. Good runs for both off the start. And Ricky and Kevin not getting out of the double file there, coming out of turn number 2. We're still running side by side. They're going all the way around. They're going to fight for the lead right off the bat. Cody's still on the inside. Nick blinking out a little bit. Stays on track. Good run off the corner. The 2 truck will lead the first lap. Still side by side off of turn number 2. Cody's going to clear him now. So that run on the bottom a little bit better. New tires early, and they are paying off. Kevin Foster slipped up a little bit there coming out of the second turn. Benny Hogan in the 88 going to look to the inside. Remember how good he is at these short tracks. Good run there for him, but Kevin is going to be able to power through on the outside. Maintains 4th for the time being. Whoa! Gets loose. Kevin's around. Into him is the 29 of McQuiggan. Caution will come out. And that is the last thing you wanted to see if you were a Kevin Foster fan. So consistent all season, so few mistakes, and cold tires are going to be his downfall off the start of the event. Just a couple laps in the 8 truck finds himself looking backwards. We're going to go to the Full Send Racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. But what a start to the race it was. But Kevin Foster just gets a little bit loose. Let's see it again here. Coming to turn number 1, the back end just stepped out on him. He sent it in there with quite a bit of pace, trying to get all the way around the outside of Benny Hogan, and the truck just did not work with him. Around he goes, and Joshua McQuiggan, the guy who was trying to get out of his way, just could not do so. Let's go to the perspective of the 29 truck. Let's see what he saw as he came through turn number 1. Right in front of him, suddenly the 8 truck there, and just nowhere he could go. McQuiggan finds himself on the inside of the 8 truck, and just like that, playoff contender right off the bat. And we were just talking about it pre-race, Christopher, about how just calm and stable Kevin Foster's been as a presence all season. I think he's got to be. I don't think he's in the top 3. I think in top 10s. I think he might have just dropped out of it. But the consistency of that 8 truck this season has been outstanding. But finally, we see a mistake, and possibly the worst time it could have possibly happened.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I still think that he's going to come back and rally. This is going to be a long race. I foresee a lot of cautions, but he's one of those guys. You know, he can start all the way in the back and he'll run all the way to the front. You know, he's one of those guys that is just so good, so consistent. This track is really hard running side by side. That the inside lane is definitely the way to go. I don't know if he got a little bit overzealous with driving in deeper there, but yeah, I think he'll be back. The name of the game tonight is managing that fast repair, I believe. So
Yeah.
I don't think he has too much damage, but he'll be back for sure. But man, that is a tough hit early.
It is a tough way to start it, but as we saw with Cody Welch last week, use that quick repair early, and as long as you can conserve the rest of your truck for the rest of the race, you at least got a shot. We were going to go to a track preview, but the lights on the pace car are off, so we will save it another lap. But there we go, your first little stint of the race, and it was pretty clean there. The first couple laps only ended because of a small mistake from, honestly, again, one of the last guys I thought would have potentially had an incident. So Cody is going to elect for the top line there. Interesting strategy. I would have thought at a short track like Myrtle Beach, where the inside is just so dominant, you can force the inside truck up. Would have thought he would opt for the inside lane, but he's going to go to the outside, and we are ready to go. Doubled up, stacked up. First restart of the race. Welch, still your control truck. Waiting. We are in the restart zone. The 85 truck is off. A massive jump. And green flag again for the second time here at Myrtle Beach. Good jump for the 85 truck. Side by side go Hogan and playoff driver Hart in the second row there. Hart's going to get the better run off the corner. Benjamin Lacey might go with him. Remember, Benjamin needs to win tonight. He is in a must-win situation. He's not off to a bad start so far. There we go. Tony Hillbrands trying to go with him as well. Benny Hogan dropping back a couple spots. The playoff driver's trying to train through, but up front, Cody Welch comfortably ahead. Now, so Lacey's going to go around. Lacey into Hogan. Hillbrands a little bit of contact, but we're through. No caution as of yet. We are still going, I believe, and the yellow does come out. So, wow. Playoff driver for the second time in 10 laps goes around in turns 1 and 2. And if you wanted to know how tricky Myrtle Beach was, especially for a short track, well, that is being proven early in tonight's event. Let's back up a little bit again, go to the Full Send Racing replay for the second time in the race. We got to go back there to, I guess the perspective of Benjamin Lacey is where we're going to start. There's Benjamin Lacey in the 7 truck. Don't think he took a ton of damage, but certainly got into the 88 truck. Yeah, the back end just steps out on him again and into turn 1, and I mean that's not even cold tires. We're 10 laps into the stint now. You know, I would have thought that the truck would have enough grip under braking to make that work, but again, significant damage to the right rear quarter panel of Benjamin, and again, he's just going for the win tonight. I don't blame the strategy of trying to pick up spots early, especially not if it's, as I heard, going to potentially be a track position race, provided we get some long stints, but yeah, just the second time this race we've seen that identical situation. And I mean, honestly, Chris, I would have expected tonight at a track this far into the stint, especially at a short track, I wouldn't have thought grip would be this tough of a commodity to come by.
Yeah, you would think so. I think it's a lot about these playoff drivers are really pushing. You know, you look at the guys that just were involved in wrecks. Kevin's just barely above the cut line. You got Benjamin trying to race his way in, and these guys are really pushing. This track is really about you know, making sure you're not driving in too deep and rolling that center. So they're probably just trying to go for that extra position. But man, some real big drama early for these playoff drivers.
Just a refresher here on the playoff bracket for those of you who are just joining us. Kevin Foster there is the first driver to go around here, having a similar slip up there on, I think it was lap number 4 there in turns number 1 and 2. He is only 4 points above the cutoff coming into tonight's race. He has made a mistake, and so has Benjamin Lacey, who now sits, well, he's comfortably out of the points already. He needs to win tonight, and unfortunately that is not the start he would have wanted in that attempt. But actually, currently, interestingly enough, seeing where the points sit, Tony Hillbrands would now take over that 4th spot. So again, it's just a reminder that you don't need to win here tonight. It's going to be tough if you're that guy in the 4th spot who's making it in on points, because if a driver outside of the top 4 wins it, whether that be Ricky Hart, Benjamin Lacey, or if Kevin Foster wins his way back in again, that 4th spot drops out. But say a guy like Nick or like Cody wins, and then Tony makes it in as the 4th spot, well, suddenly we got kind of a dark horse guy making it into the round of 4, but a guy who's had a great season overall. Tony Hillbrands, I think, a guy that's kind of flown under the radar for a lot of the season, but he's been good at the short tracks in the past. Remember at Nashville earlier this year, he came one, phantom pit stop away from potentially, making that his first win of the season, and I think his first win, at least in my time in the series. So it would have been big for him, but unfortunately just didn't work out in that particular instance. And tonight you got to wonder, is this the redemption race? And certainly I think he's far back enough in the points that he's going to be in that mindset of win it if you can, don't worry about points, and see what you can do. But there is your pole sitter for this next restart for the third time in tonight's race. Cody Welch is going to lead us to green. Getting ready, doubled up, stacked up, ready to go on the inside. The 85 truck, the control truck. Green flag, another good jump for the 85. He's always been great, but he does it again. Down to turn number 1, 15 laps in here at Myrtle Beach. Cody Welch continues to lead. And in the second row, it's Nickerson. Hart on the inside, trying to get by the 2 truck early in the run. Ricky, a much better run than the 2 into turn number 2. Out he comes. They're side by side in turn number 3. Deep send from Hogan. Hogan was making some progress there. Hillbrands is coming up through the inside. Making progress there, down to the bottom. Can he get a move done on Nick as well? The inside is open, but I think Nick's going to close the door out of turn number 2. But Ricky Hart up to second, makes it work. Nice move by Ricky. Now he's going for Cody as well. Ricky not waiting around. That 64 truck is down to the bottom. Is Cody even going to bother blocking him off this early in the run, or is he just going to say, take it if you want it? And let's fight later on in the event. Side by side to turn number 1. The 64 truck looking great here early. And he talked about it before the race, Chris. This might be a track that's particularly good for his skill set, but I would have said the same for Cody Welch. 2 great drivers up front, followed by defending series champion and Tony Hillbrands, again, who came very close to winning the last short track. There is a lot of talent in the top 5 right now. Down the inside again. Ricky's going to try it again. We're still side by side. I keep thinking we might see a little bit of contact, but for the time being, we are all clean. There you see the perspective on Cody Welch. Down to the inside. Ricky again gets a good run off the middle of the corner, but off the exit, it's just that Cody has such a wide arc he can take there with that kind of curved trioval form here at Myrtle Beach. He can keep enough pace, but there he goes. Ricky Hart gets it done. Finally gets the move done. Now Cody Welch just has to settle in, try to block from Nick if he can, but the 2 truck is under him as well. It feels like you're at Myrtle Beach with track position. If one guy gets by you, the next guy isn't too far behind. Side by side as they cross the line. Cody's still ahead for the time being, but Nick is not giving that spot up. Down to the inside once again. And again, if you're Cody Welch and you let Nick by, Tony might not be too far behind. So Hillbrands could potentially be in the top 3 in a matter of moments. But Nick has the better run into the corner. A little bit of contact, actually. I think Cody got swept out a little bit by the 2 truck, but he is going backwards a little bit. We're seeing a wreck somewhere on track. Cale Zook, I'm seeing, has gone around. He has indeed. Cale Zook off the pace. We are under caution for the 3rd time in the event. That 44 Charlie Brown Christmas truck, probably my favorite in the event tonight, is looking all banged up. And the follow-up to last week's podium for Cale Zook, unfortunately not quite as fruitful so far.
Look at this top 4 right now.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Holy cow, what a race it's been so far. I can't wait to get back to it. But for the time being, you see Cale Zook there in the 44 truck. I think was down a couple of spots since the beginning. You see they're going to the bottom. Gary Wright was the first guy to go around. So Cale was completely unrelated to the start of that incident. So let's go up a little ways forward. The 6 truck there of Gary Wright, that light blue and green entry. He goes into the corner. Same thing. It's turn 1 specifically. Just no grip there under braking for guys tonight. And Kevin Foster, again, I think taking a bit of a shunt off the back. Actually, that's what we got to keep an eye on because he's already used his quick repair. You see the damage fixed on that 8 truck. But if he took more lingering damage from that wreck, then his chances at the final 4 could be all but gone in a race where, again, besides that early little slip up, he's done very little wrong. I'm almost wondering if he didn't take that quick repair because you see there's still damage to the right-left or the rear left of the truck and definitely got into him a little bit. Let's see if there's damage on the front side. Oh yeah, damage to the front end of that truck. You see on the front right quarter panel. So yeah, wow. It's not been a successful night for Kevin Foster or to a slightly lesser extent, who was that there that was struggling early, Benjamin Lacey. So keep an eye on Kevin, see if he gets back in it. I don't believe he's currently a lap down. If he is, just barely. No, he's still on the lead lap as of right now. So yeah, for the time being, we are okay. But yeah, not been the night he was hoping for. But yeah, we were just talking about it, Chris. But just holy cow, what a race we had here at the start. And I would almost say in terms of number of guys that are going to be competitive tonight, especially for a short track, this could be shaping up to be the most competitive race we've had all season.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I said it in the beginning before we were talking about the broadcast. I think Ricky is going to be one of those guys that you got to watch out for. And you said, you know, you're going to be rooting for Tony tonight. So you're looking at this top 4 right now, and you got them running right up front. I want to shout out a rather pompous guy running up front too, Jason Greenwell. You gotta put that plug in there, but he's running real good. But man, I knew Ricky was going to be aggressive tonight. He's got the lead, and you got Tony sitting right behind him on this restart. This is shaping up real good, man. I know Kevin. I think Kevin's saving his fast repair. I think that's a good strategy. As long as he stays on the lead lap, he can keep coming to the pit and working on it. save that fast pair for later, and hopefully some of these other guys wreck, which with the racing we're seeing side by side, guys washing up into the track, I think we're due for some more cautions and some of those playoff drivers being involved. So.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about potentially more cautions. Honestly, I think with the racing we've been seeing tonight so far, I'm pretty impressed with what we've seen, and I think it'll be a case of that run of cautions potentially at the end. But just to answer a quick question in the chat, where is the 13 truck? Very good question. 4-time champion, the 13 truck. Yeah, he's not here tonight. We don't know, just wasn't able to make it to the event, so hopefully he's back with us in a future week. But for the time being, Ricky Hart is your race leader, and he will take the green flag here for the 4th time tonight at Myrtle Beach. And a great jump. He just rocketed off the start. Nick Nickerson, who's been on the second spot on the grid every restart so far, just has not had those jumps he needs to make an attack right off the bat. Almost a half-second clear off the bat is Ricky Hart. But right now, it is Nick right in front of Tony and Cody who are having a battle. Welch and Hillbrands side by side coming into turn number 4. Hillbrands the better run on the outside where Cody was successful earlier, but Cody's got that bottom line that we've seen a couple other drivers make work. Bret Guzik's going to go around. Another guy. Bret Guzik into it. Greenwell's in it. Somebody's looking backwards. Gary Moore. Did Kevin Foster get through it? He did get through it. Bret Guzik, though, the main driver involved, already in the round of 4. So the 04 truck finding himself behind the 8 ball. Once again, we saw it a little bit last week at Darlington. There was some late troubles throughout that event, but Benjamin Lacey again, I think, taking a little bit of damage. Let's go to the full send racing replay. 4th caution of the race. You called that one, Chris, but tonight's just going to be a race of survival, I think, for these playoff guys. And Gary Wright again, I'm seeing is involved somehow. I think it happened in front of him this time. See up front. Yeah, you see everybody checking up already. So it was Jason Greenwell, I think, was principally involved in that. Same with Bret Guzik. They just did not show up right off the bat. There's Bret Guzik, so we go to his perspective. Full set racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. This was much further up in the field. So Bret Guzik sitting there in 5th, I think, just tries to clear himself off the front nose of Benny Hogan. I think Benny had enough of a share of that corner that I think it may have been in Bret's best interest to back off. Definitely in execution it was, but that was pretty close. Let's go to the chase perspective there on Benny Hogan. It was close. Like, it's those tiny margins here. Such fast-paced racing, especially early in these runs when everybody's bunched up here. You can't really fault a guy for that, Chris. And I know if you were in Bret's position there, to a certain extent, it's annoying. But such fast-paced racing, you can only put that on yourself so much.
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. And everybody's battling for the win. Everybody knows that you need to get up front and get to that lead. This is a very much a track precision race. And guys are already getting heated. They're starting to chirp at each other, and it's only going to make this more fun for us. So I hope everybody in the chat is excited, and let's get that chat going. I'm here in the chat, so
yeah, trying to keep half an eye on the chat myself, but sincerely, we've had such great interactions with you guys these last couple weeks. You guys, everybody watching at home, not just for watching, we appreciate so much for watching and liking and interacting with the streams, but for really getting involved, getting the conversation, keeping it moving. We appreciate it so much. I love reading it. I love keeping updated. And yeah, thank you to Jackson Knock there in the chat for giving us some behind the scenes info, reporting some issues that some guys are having with their telemetries and their spotters, and just one additional level of chaos tonight. It's going to be the night of chaos. I think we put it in the stream information. Definitely going to be accurate if this race so far has anything to say about it. And we're only 1/4 of the way through, so plenty of racing left to go. And remember, the top 4 tonight, besides Bret Guzik, so the top 4 in points after tonight's event make it to the championship 4 to go race for a title at Talladega and Charlotte. But there is your track preview tonight. Let's just go over Myrtle Beach Speedway a little bit. Initially named Ramby Raceway, it opened in 1958. It is, of course, a short track sitting just over half a mile, 5.38, or 0.538, I should say. 125 laps tonight, so it's technically the 67.25, but the EvanWaltMedia.com 67.25 just does not sound quite as catchy. 13-degree banking on the turns, a subtle banking on the straightaway. The fastest recorded time in the trucks on iRacing was a 17.5757 a couple years ago, and that last detail is incorrect. It's an old graphic. We changed the schedule. Next week, we are at Talladega, the big one. I can't wait for Talladega next week. That'll be a crazy race. We'll talk more about that later. But back to the restart. Ricky Hart Jr., the control truck this time, gets another good jump, but not quite as far. So Nick Nickerson starting to pick it up as the race goes on. A little bit better that time by. Cody Welch comfortably going to slide in ahead of Tony Hillbrands for the time being. And that top 4 who've been so quick all night, all 4 playoff guys, off to a good jump so far. Early on, though, Ricky Hart looking quick, but Nick is making up ground to the back of that 64 truck quicker than we've seen. And, you know, remember, tire wear just not really an issue tonight. Guys are able to conserve tires in this setup quite late into the run. So, you know, this is going to be a nice competitive race on fresh rubber, fairly fresh rubber throughout most of the stint. So we will keep an eye on these four as we go through the race. Looking further back, though, a couple battles. Side-by-side are Steve Ulrich and Bret Guzik, who's still got truck damage. Bret didn't even come in to repair it, and he's still weaving through. Who is that going around? Andrew Zook in the 07 truck in the inside wall. Coming off of turn number 4. He is stuck in the wall. Comes off track, so we stay green here. No caution for the time being, but Benjamin Lacey, like I said, that 7 truck looking quick, and Bret Guzik already up to 11th with considerable damage to that front nose. So Bret Guzik, some guys just quick enough that they don't need fresh trucks, and Bret Guzik is trying to prove he is one of them. But Andrew Zook just, I think, got tangled with somebody coming off of turn number 4, put it in the inside wall, and classic iRacing physics is going to have to jump back to the pits. So unfortunate for the Zooks tonight. All 3 are currently off track or currently out. Cale Zook a couple laps down after that early wreck. So tonight just not the night after the first Zook podium last week. But up front again, Ricky Hart looking comfortable back again. He's got the pace up a couple notches and is now starting to pull away a little bit from the guys in 3rd and 4th, but Nick is not giving him an inch. He's going to sit right there and wait for a mistake. And yeah, it's just been a fairly clean performance all around from these front 4 guys. And Benny Hogan sitting there in 5th, trying to make up ground, trying to stay competitive. He just got by Matt Crockett for the final spot in the top 5. But credit to Matt Crockett as well as Mark Allen Bivens, Nolan Gross. These guys in this part of the track, Matt Crockett came from 13th up to 6th so far. Mark Allen started in 18th. He's up to 7th. Or sorry, that's backwards. 16th. He's up to 7th. Nolan Gross was 15th. You know, Eddie Hagge was 19th. Some considerable progress from these guys mid-pack, and Eddie Hagge. Oh, Eddie's going to go around. Checks up in front of Guzik, in front of Lacey. Lacey's into him again. Lacey and Guzik making contact. More damage to the 7 in the 04 truck. These playoff guys that are getting caught in the back. It is just a bloodbath back there. And Benjamin Lacey, who needs to win tonight for his championship, 2 wins on the season. Things just go from bad to worse for the 7 truck. Here goes Kevin Foster on the inside, going to get him into turn number 3. So these guys there in that later portion of the race, we've seen in the past, if you're one of these championship guys or you're going for the win at all, stay out of the back of the pack. Not just because, you know, it's drivers that you're not used to racing against. I think the driver talent is just as fair and just as clean, but just so many guys back there jammed up into such a little groove. And this battle for the lead has been brutal so far. Look at the back end of the 64 truck. Look at how close Nick's getting into the braking zones. He is just not giving him any space to work with. And, you know, pressure on caution does come out. Thank you for catching it. Sometimes with the views, it can be hard to see. But, yeah, caution does come out. So we're going off to, I believe, Andrew Zook again. Going to go to your Full Send Racing replay for the 4th caution of the event. The 07 truck, again, the Christmas theme number 07 entry. Oh, it's a Christmas Story entry, so trying to identify the Christmas movie there. One of my all-time classics. It's kind of our family's Christmas Eve movie. Slides out right in front of the leaders, though. Again, turn number 1 catches another victim. Let's get a quick replay again. Maybe get his perspective from inside the truck and see what Andrew was looking at. But coming to turn number 1, gets on the brakes, and there goes the back end. That 07 truck just... Andrew knew what he was doing. The truck did not agree, so... There you go. You see the little snack stand there at Myrtle Beach Speedway, one of the more, you know, homegrown circuits on the calendar, I'd say, this year. Certainly that we've gone to, kind of a more family-owned business rather than the traditional, you know, mega corporation, mega speedways that we're used to every given week. And we're going to another mega coliseum of racing next week at Talladega. But just, we're 44 laps in. What a race it's been. This has been fun so far. And that battle for the lead, Chris, I know it's been a pretty dominant performance from Ricky since he took over the lead from Cody Welch early, but I don't know. With how close Nick's keeping it and how close Welch and Hillbrands are, I almost wonder if they're conserving a little bit. I don't think we know really anything about what the end of this race is going to look like yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're just getting started, really. These guys are just starting to find their rhythm and getting settled in. I was watching while you were going through the field there, I was watching these guys. Nick is trying to just search around and see what Ricky's doing, and every time Nick goes to a different area, Ricky starts searching for another piece of real estate. So it's going to be good. Tony is all over the back of Cody. There's a couple times they almost got into each other there. So this is shaping up to be a real good race. And now that we're stacking the field back up, you never know what's going to happen. So we're just getting started. Everybody in the chat, I need to know how many cautions we're going to have by the end of this thing. So we are just getting started here.
Yeah, I'm curious to know that same thing myself. I'm feeling a little bit optimistic, to be honest. I think once guys have kind of worked out their issues early, figured out that turn one, and as people are starting to do, I can already see the angle in their apex and entry is getting a little bit wider. They're starting to round it out, put less pressure on the brakes in their initial turn in. So I think we're going to get it figured out by the end of the race. Yeah, feel free. You throw it in the chat there. I'm curious to see what kind of answers we got and see what the group consensus is. So just throw it down in the chat. How many cautions do you think we'll have by the end of the night? I'm going to go 11. I think it's going to be a fairly calm race. Maybe get one until maybe lap 80, maybe lap 90. I think the end of the race is going to be nuts. I think Ricky Hart has already been good on those restarts. I think he's going to have to get even better. I think he's going to get some practice tonight. But just curious from your perspective, Chris, with what you've seen so far, what you're expecting from Myrtle Beach, and especially from a driver's perspective, what would your estimate be tonight?
I'm going to say around 8 to 10. I think as it gets deeper into this race, guys are going to start getting more chippy. I know, Nick's won a lot this season, but he's always looking for a win. And all four of these guys, the whole field is looking to beat Nick Nickerson. So there's going to be some moves being made.
Well, one thing is for sure, yes, they are all trying to beat Nick Nickerson. One of those guys in that group is Ricky Hart, and he is off. The back end of that truck was all over the place coming to the first turn. Not a great jump there for Ricky, but he holds on to the inside of the line through 1 and 2. We are side by side further back. Tony Hillbrands, who was right behind Cody that entire last stint, he's getting tired of that. He's saying, okay, Cody, let's race for third now. Right to the outside. Can he get a good run off the corner? I think Cody might slide up in front. Going to be close. Does clear him into the braking zone, so Cody should be comfortably back to third. Benny Hogan got a good run there, got by Matt Crockett again. So Benny Hogan sitting there in fifth, could throw his hat in the ring potentially to get back into the top four where he was a little bit earlier, but yeah, Cody and Tony there kind of seeming like the B battle here, the B side of the album, battling for third. But up front, the A show, the main event, has been Ricky Hart versus Nick Nickerson so far. The last two champions in the Bandit Racing League battling for a spot to race for another. And we are still good so far. It's Ricky alongside Nick heading into turn number 3. Further back again, Welch, Hillbrands, Hogan. Welch and Hillbrands starting to make up a little bit of ground. Cody Welch is on a good run. Let's jump in behind the number 85 truck here and just see what he's looking at as he chases down that front two. And behind him, you can see how close Tony Hillbrands is getting, tucking his nose in there into the conversation. Right now, still going to hold on to fourth place, breaking away from Benny Hogan just a little bit, but starting to single file out here a little bit at Myrtle Beach. Doesn't surprise me entirely. I know, like we were just talking about it. We do have a wreck, right as I say it. And it is a big name too. Kevin Foster, I'm seeing, has brought out the caution. Not a ton of damage there in the A truck, but again, he was a guy who was in the playoffs tonight. It was 4 spots above the cutoff, but fortunately for Kevin, it has just not been his night. Here's the Full Send Racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. A truck, that is Gary Moore sliding in there late. The 89 just carrying a bunch of speed. Does he save it? Nice truck control there. Nice patient driving there from the A truck. Just gets on the brakes, walks down the steering a little bit, and keeps it out of the outside wall. So I know it hasn't been his race, but Kevin is still on the lead lap currently. He's still in the conversation. And Chris, it's that patient decision making like that I'd say you'd agree is what separates the championship quality guys from anybody else, is being able to make decisions like that.
Absolutely, man. I've seen it all season long where you got guys that just know how to make it work. And they can be in terrible situations, and they still find a way to make better of it. We got pit stops happening now, so that's going to really shake everything up. I don't know how these guys are going to do on older tires here, staying out, but this is going to shake up the field really, really good. If you thought the restarts were crazy before, oh man, I can't wait for this one.
Oh yeah, and what an order off pit road we see here. Cody Welch wins the race off of those who pitted. Benny Hogan going to cycle to the front. He has yet to pit. So on fuel, the guys pitting now can now make it to the end. So that may have been the last stop of the race for Cody Welch. He comes in and is now out. Ricky Hart is going to cycle in behind him. Then it's Nickerson, Hillbrands, Bivens sitting there in fifth of the guys who pitted. So not a bad spot for Mark Allen Bivens to find himself. Joshua McQuiggan back down pit road. Must have sped there because he came out second. He was right behind Cody Welch on pit road. Now has to come back in. So if that was the game plan, he thought he could get by and maybe take 1 or 2 tires or something like that, go for an alternate strategy to get track position. Unfortunately, it will not work out. So can't confirm that it's a speeding penalty, but it's weird to see him come back twice in a row. David Lakey after that there. You see damage to the front end of that truck. He is in the next spot behind McQuiggan. But yeah, Chris, this is where I think it gets nuts, because Benny Hogan, you see damage there on the left side of that number 88 truck. Matt Crockett truck looking fairly clean. That 10 truck is looking great, actually. One of the best liveries in the series, and it is not being scraped up all too bad tonight. The same cannot be said for the FedEx number 7 of championship contender Benjamin Lacey. The front end of that truck is caved in pretty good. Bill Harkins there sitting in 4th, put in over 1,000 laps this week at Myrtle Beach. He was getting practiced up and ready to go, and he's sitting there in 4th on this alternate strategy. A guy's pitting later could be on fresh tires there by the end of the event, so keep an eye on Bill Harkins potentially for the rest of the event. Jason Greenwell sitting there in 5th. That truck is damaged. Gary Moore just got in a little bit of contact. That truck is damaged on the right side. Bret Guzik is damaged. Gary Wright as well. Cody Welch is sitting behind 7 damaged trucks and 2 that are in decent condition. I think this is going to be crazy, and I feel like I'm worried for these guys mid-pack. I almost think if I were out here, and of course I'm not a series driver, I've never run a race in the series, though I do hope to one day. I definitely would have stayed out there. I'm so worried for these guys further back in the pack about trying to weave through these guys on older tires and worse trucks. But here we go. Benny Hogan going to lead us to green alongside Matt Crockett. Here is your 6th restart of the race. The 88 truck, what a jump. He is gone. Benny Hogan, goodbye. Green flag here at Myrtle Beach. And I think we may have extended the caution lap, and we did.
Oh, someone blew up.
Did they? Did they on
84 of David Leakey blew his motor.
Okay, yeah, David Lakey off the paint. Already seeing the damage on that truck, the 84. Look for the cloud of smoke. That's going to be your up. Yeah, there it goes. Holy cow. I can honestly say I've never just seen a truck blow up, at least not that I've been in. I've never seen a truck just blow up on a restart like that. So let's see that one more time there from the in-car perspective. We saw the damage there in the 84 truck, but he was trying to ride it out. Don't know if he's out at quick repairs or he just doesn't want to use one yet. But if he's going to blow up, he definitely would have liked to there. Coming to the green. You heard it there in the in-truck, and you saw the rev limiter just drop off. Yeah, David Lakey is now going to have to jump back to pit road, presuming he has a quick repair, but if he doesn't, his night is over for the 84.
Hate to see it for a guy like that. He's another one of those fan favorites. He's just had a really tough season. He was really good in the Xfinity car, and you know, this is another one of those guys who we translate over to the truck. It's just not quite sticking, and I'm hoping for next season he's going to have a lot better result. But one guy that I'm looking at right now, that 7 truck, I think he's in the catbird seat. You got all these leaders with Cody and Ricky set a couple spots back. They have to get through this traffic, and if the 7 truck can get up to this lead, that is huge, as these guys might get some damage getting through this traffic right now. So this is turning into, like I said, an absolute barn burner, and I'm loving every second of it. And honestly, I'm happy I'm here in the booth with you and not in the car tonight. So this is so much fun.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, tonight would have been one of the more stressful nights, and I know you've been a busy guy, so I'd say the last thing you want in your free time is more chaos like this. But for the guys racing for a championship and the guys racing for a first career win, you got to do what you got to do. So I don't know what is happening here. I think we're going green this time by. The pace truck's been in pit road 4 straight laps. I believe this is it. We're doubled up, stacked up, ready to go. We are. Green flag. Benny Hogan takes us to green for the first time tonight after the delayed restart, and we are off. Good jump for the 88 truck. Side by side go Bill Harkins and Matt Crockett, the 2 guys who run the series, duking it out a little bit here early in the restart at Myrtle Beach. Further back, it's Benjamin Lacey, Gary Moore. You just talked about Benjamin Lacey. This might be his opportunity to pick up some spots, put himself back in the conversation. But it's Guzik, then it's Welch comfortably ahead. Nickerson getting by Greenwell, who hasn't pitted. And it's Ricky Hart on the inside. The battle continues, and everybody's weaving around trying to pick up spots early here. Can these guys on new tires like Welch, Nickerson, Hart, how many spots can they pick up early? Hillbrands a couple spots back. He gets by Pivens. Might get by the underside of Greenwell through 3 and 4. Just going to follow Ricky Hart through, and Ricky should get him as well. But Jason fighting back on the outside, getting some good runs. But up front, Benjamin Lacey's making some progress. He's by Matt Crockett. Up front, Benny Hogan just running away with it. Now it's Crockett versus Moore. Moore getting a bit of a push from Guzik. Guzik clears Harkins. We're 3 wide. Harkins in the wall. Harkins into the outside quarter panel of Guzik. Is it caution? It is not as of yet. We stay green. Bill Harkins keeps it on track, but he is off the pace. The 11 truck put in so many laps this week, was running well in that last stint, but got into Bret Guzik trying to make a late move on the outside around Gary Moore, I think, and no, it wasn't. It might have been Gary Moore, but Cody Welch is capitalizing. He's dicing through up to 5th now. Nick right behind him, but the question is, are they on the same tire strategy? I would have thought to get ahead of him, Cody would have had to take only 2 tires, so maybe an alternate strategy call there, but Nick looking quick off the corners, tons of traction. So these new tire guys teaming up on the old tire guys. Gary Moore's going to watch out in the corner. That should give the 85 the run he needs. The 2 might go with him. So it's Hogan, Lacey, and Crockett pretty spread out. But Hogan up front, a bunch of running lap traffic. The 85 is loose.
Wow.
Saves it. Holy cow. The first guy tonight to overcome the power of that turn 1 loose truck syndrome. Gary Moore fighting back on the inside, but Cody is not giving up. Cody Welch, bend but don't break. That is his rule, and he made it work that time. Now Matt Crockett going to go to the top side. I don't know if he's letting the playoff guys by or if he just got a little bit loose, but holy cow, Chris, how does Cody do that?
Talk about full send on Full Send Racing Network. Oh my gosh, we got a caution, but wow, what a save by Cody. That was wild.
We could put together an entire 3-minute compilation of Cody saves this season. We're going to go back to that in just a moment, but yeah, caution comes out yet again. Bret Guzik is off the pace on pit road, but I'm seeing Steve Ulrich and Mark Allen Bibbins, the 2 guys that got in a wreck. As was previously mentioned in the chat there, Mark Allen has had a great season overall so far. Gary Moore, you see getting the rumble strips on the inside and gets into the 76. Such a clean race so far for the 76. That truck was looking flawless, but yeah, just washed up there on the inside, and did Gary Moore. Got into the rumble strips on the inside, bounced him up to the outside, and Bivens was caught in the crosshairs. Going live here, we see Benny Hogan on pit road, so these final guys making their pit stops. Benny Hogan's going to be further back in the pack, but he's going to have newer tires, so now is the trade-off. Benny Hogan.
That stayed out, that has to stay out. The 7 car, he's on older tires, and he has all these hungry guys behind him on fresh tires. That is one heck of a storyline, and Cody's coming down. Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Neither did, damage to the front right of that truck, so potentially took a little bit more damage than we thought. Maybe got into a truck there on that last stint, but we do have to go back to it in just a moment. But I'm going to throw it out there. I don't... I'm going to be honest. I love Benjamin Lacey. I think he's got a great shot, but that truck is damaged. He's used a quick repair, and he's on older tires. But he can make it to the end on fuel. So, Benjamin Lacey, look at the front of that truck, but it might be the Cody Welch plan from last week. Take a damaged truck and just see what you can do with it. It might be the second chance for that strategy to work out, and maybe Benjamin thinks he can do a little bit better than Cody did about that strategy last week. I think it's a more forgiving track to try it, but remember, Benjamin needs a win, doesn't care about points, and he is strategizing for the win here. He just wants to be in the conversation. I don't think it's a bad plan, Chris, because I don't think if he doesn't have a if he doesn't have a quick repair left, like there's no benefit, I think, to pitting at this point. New tires is great, but I don't think he's got the speed to make it back through the field, so probably not a bad plan in my mind.
You might as well send it, but if there's a guy that is going to restart behind you that I don't want restarting behind me with how aggressive he's going to be, knowing the playoff implications that he has in front of him, Tony Hillbrands is looking like he's going to set up behind him. Oh, man, this is going to be another great restart. Every single restart we've had has been great. Another guy I want to shout out, 05 truck running up front here. So, I mean, this is... You never know what's going to happen. Everybody, the whole field is shuffled around, and man, this is turning into one heck of a show.
It is indeed. What a race it's been so far. Here is the replay on Cody Welch's save. Coming around, look at the back end, is fully stepped out on him, slides through the corner, keeps his hands moving. Just, what a moment here. Cody Welch, I don't know how he does it, but...
Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely incredible. That is pure talent on display. That's talent, that's experience, that's skill, everything rolled together. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Chris. Nolan Groves, what a race it's been for him tonight. One of the youngest guys in the series, but has quietly had a great rookie season in the series, and now he finds himself on the outside of row number 2. But we are about to go green. Can Benjamin Lacey, going for a win to make the round of 4, can he hold off the leaders? On the inside is Lacey. Nick right to the outside. Got a great run off the outside of the corner. Might go all the way around in 1 and 2. Does he? He does. Does clear him. Wow. So the 2 truck gone. And the 7 truck, we talked about potentially that defensive strategy, but I think the truck has just gone away from him. I think that 7 truck is past its expiry date. And now is the question, you just talked about him, Chris. How quickly can Tony get by and go track down that 2 truck?
He's going to be pushing for sure, and you don't want to let that 2 truck check out. I mean, I'm assuming we'll probably get another caution here before this thing ends, but the more time he runs up front, he gets comfortable. That is not something you want to see from that 2 truck.
No, we've seen many a race in this series where your defending series champion has just run away with it. And yeah, that is the last thing we're looking for right now. So Tony just going to do everything he can to make some track position up. And yeah, the 2 truck though, just checking out. I think every lap Benjamin stays there. The Benjamin isn't falling back by any means. You know, he's keeping with him. That 7 truck doesn't look too bad, but here we go to the inside goes the 92. Might be his chance. Look to the inside, get by him quick, and he does. So Tony Hillbrands fighting through it. Talk about the hungriest driver on track. I think you're talking about the 92. Benjamin, I think, thought about fighting back a little bit, thought about putting up some resistance on the outside, but to no avail. Tony is by up to second, and further back, there is all sorts of chaos back here. Look at John Graham there looking to the inside of Joshua McQuiggan. We almost went 3 wide to the turn 1 braking zone. McQuiggan on the outside. There's Ricky Hart trying to get back in the mix. Cody Welch as well. These are the 2 guys that want to get to the front, but especially if you're Welch, who has burned a quick repair already, you don't want to get in a wreck, because if Cody wrecks right now and a bunch of guys finish the race, he could miss the playoffs despite a 17-point buffer. I don't want to jinx him, but he's got to stay careful. And he's already got damage to the front of that truck. He repaired it on the last stop, so something has also gone wrong for the 85 truck. These guys in this part of the pack are having trouble keeping it clean. And there we go. We're bunching up again. Just holy cow. Just a big glob of trucks here in this part of the track. John Graham kind of leading them. Benny Hogan on the inside there making up progress. Remember, he just pitted, slides into the 96 actually. Contact. Cody Welch down the middle. Where the heck did he pick up those spots? Cody Welch in 8th, gonna look to the inside. He is moving up quick, but again, damage on the front nose of that 85. You can see the front end kind of caves in a little bit. It's gonna take another recovery drive from Cody, but again, we get some cautions, we get some good luck for him. He could be right back in it, but again, just needs points to make it to the round of 8. But Ricky Hart, the same cannot be said. He needs to fight for a little bit more. He was 4 spots down on the cutoff coming into tonight's event. Really needs to fight for everything he's worth to make up some spots, especially considering how well guys like Nickerson and Hillbrands particularly, as well as Welch, are doing. So Ricky Hart is going to fight for everything he's worth to make it back up there, but right now he's behind a wall of trucks, including Harkins, McQuiggan, Greenwell, guys like that. So, oh, here we go, battle of the young guns here. Nolan Gross, Mark Allen Bivens, and that's at the end, Benny Hogan, who's kind of a hard charger right now. I think the 88 truck, newer tires, looking quick, might get by the both of them. But Nolan Gross going to throw a block on it for the time being, the 05 truck. Yes, the yellow is out, thank you. Yeah, it's just not the setup design I got going right now to detect them immediately. But Kevin Foster, full send racing replay. What went wrong for the 8 truck this time? If this is fatal for him, he might be done. His chances might be over. That is a significant amount of damage. Backs into the wall. I hate to be the one to say it, but he's out of quick repairs. We might be seeing the championship hopes for Kevin Foster slipping away from us, and that would be an absolute shame because of what a season it's been for him. But off of turn number 4, let's see what went wrong for him. So, turn 3 braking zone. I think it was just Steve Orrick got a little bit overzealous on the brakes there, a little bit late, a little bit of netcode tapped in the tiniest bit, and we've already seen trucks just braking into the turn 1 braking zone having trouble. Surely if you get a bit of a tap, it's going to make it even tougher. So Kevin Foster, where is he currently? Is he on track? He remains on track, so that is the important part. But Benjamin Lacey on pit road, the 7 truck just leaving now, so the strategy is not going to come to fruition, but it's a clean truck, so still had a quick repair in the bank. I think it's a good move to save it till this late in the race. So the 7 truck, thinking big picture, he's back in the equation. And honestly, with the pace he was showing there earlier, Chris, I think he's got just as good of a shot as anybody else here if he can get back up to the front, capitalize on some cautions to still take away that win he needs to make the Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely. If he comes and gets that truck fixed up, I'm almost positive he still has some tires in the pits. So I don't know how much tires are going to matter right now, but it is go time. I can tell you that for free. It is time to go. And guys like Lacey and Ricky, they got to start making that charge. Another little playoff update, I believe, is that Bret Guzik is retired from the race. So that's another spot for these guys up front where another contender for the win is not contending tonight.
It's really just a buffer for guys like Nick and Cody, who, again, are 17 points above the points cutoff. And if we get to the point where more than 7 drivers are out of tonight's event and they've left the session completely, that automatically punches both Nick and Cody in on points. So it's not the way we want to see it happen. We don't want to see it happen just by default that guys make it into the playoffs, but certainly it's a main contender out of the equation for sure. I mean, Chris, you've seen all season, as have I think all of us, just how reliable Bret is everywhere. He's got a background in short tracks. I raced him a whole bunch in our kind of off-season fun, playoff series or our fun casual like off-season thing. He beat me solidly at a short track. I think we went green to the end, ran about 100 laps. He beat me by 2 laps. Like, Bret is an absurd talent. And I think with the unfortunate luck he's had tonight, partially I think because he knows he's out of the playoffs and might have kind of checked out a little bit in terms of trying to keep it particularly clean. But definitely a guy that if you're a playoff driver and you're looking for the win tonight, kind of a guy you're happy to see out of the order.
Absolutely. Bret is so knowledgeable about just about everything. If you have a question about how to get around a track, he will break it down in the simplest of terms for anybody. He's a phenomenal person, and what a great mind to pick, that guy.
Well, the guy I'm keeping an eye on here is Tony Hillbrands. On the inside, in the 92, Nick, who's the leader, should get the better run off the jump. But keep an eye on Tony Hillbrands. Second row is the Young Guns, Bibbins and Gross, side by side. Then it's Hogan and Welch, row 3. 40 laps to go here at Myrtle Beach. Green flag for the EvanWallMedia.com 125, the finale of the round of 8. Top 4 make it into the championship to race at Talladega and Charlotte for the title. Here we go, off the jump. Bibbins and Gross, side by side off of turn number 3, or turn number 2, just as I expected. Already going to town. Mark Allen Bibbins up to 3rd, so good start to the run for the 76 truck. Benny Hogan looking to the inside of Gross. The 88 truck has been looking quick on this last couple stints. Has newer tires. Cody Welch is going to go with him, so Hogan and Welch making some progress. Again, damage to the front end of the 85 of Cody Welch, but we've seen in the past that does not particularly matter for him. Whoa, deep on the brakes goes Benny Hogan. I think it's going to cost his runoff a little bit. You see Welch a little bit quicker there back on the jump. Further back, Ricky Hart on the inside of Bill Harkins. He's got to make some progress up. Again, don't count the 64 truck out whatsoever. He was leading early in tonight's race. But just so much action all over the track. Got a bit of a wide shot here just to see how everybody's kind of cycled out here. Down to the braking zone there in turn number 3. Nolan Gross gets cycled out a little bit. That inside line is just going to swallow him up. Needs to give himself a little bit of room. McQuiggan's going to get by. Greenwell's going to get by. So Nolan Gross, who just a moment ago was in such a great spot. Again, just proving tonight that if you get cycled out, you get pushed up to the top side, you are effectively out of contention to pick up more spots. So there we go. Cody Welch as well getting by Benny Hogan, who I thought would have had more pace on this run. You know, fresh tires, I think equally so to Welch. And a less damaged race truck. That's just proving how quick Cody is right now. The back end totally stepped out on him in the corner. Is the 88 truck getting into him? I wonder if we're seeing the elbows jumping out a little bit and a non-playoff guy and a playoff guy getting a little bit scrappy here. Cody, again, just got to keep it on track at this point. You know, if he finds himself out of the race and enough guys finish, could lose that spot in the playoffs entirely. So 85 truck, I think, has to woe it down. But again, we know if anybody in this field wants a win tonight, it might be that 85 truck.
And another guy I want to bring into the conversation here, that 7 truck has been absolutely flying through the field ever since he pitted, so that's another guy to keep your eye on. And if I'm in that 85 truck and I see that 64 getting closer, that is not a guy I want to see transfer to the next round. He is so good at Charlotte, and man, that would be a tough run for the championship if you got to go through a guy like that.
Another spot here for Lacey, going to get to the inside of Greenwell. But yeah, that's a great point. You know, next week it's out. Whoa, McQuiggan's around, gets pushed by Harkins. Caution number 8, I believe, will come out. There he goes. So McQuiggan getting into Harkins and McQuiggan getting involved. I don't know in which order yet. But yeah, caution number 8. Pack the field up again. Nickerson was starting to run away from Hillbrands, so that is not going to be bad for the competition. Yeah, that was just, I think Harkins running a little high on the exit. Tapping the quarter panel. McQuiggan there, the 29 truck goes, oh, look at how close he came to Benjamin Lacey. Holy cow. One more replay on that, please. Holy. Whew. Benjamin Lacey's going to wipe some sweat off his forehead there. That was scary. So, again, replay here. Look at how close he's going to come to Benjamin Lacey. Back on the gas. Oh, holy cow, look at that.
Wow.
Tonight is the night of close shaves. We should have been like a Gillette-sponsored event tonight. Holy cow. Let's get a replay on that here. Well, I think it's going to be the...
We're truck pitting as well. Just throwing that out there. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, that not a bad call. I think look at the holy cow! How? That if Benjamin Lacey comes back tonight from 7th with a new truck, new tires, and wins the race tonight, that could be the closest margin in history for to determine a championship. That was nuts, Chris.
That was insane. I'm surprised he didn't get some kind of netcode damage from that.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So, I mean, if I'm him right now, deep breath, you got to focus forward, because, I mean, my heart rate would be through the roof right now.
Yeah, mine's through the roof. I'm not even in the truck, so Man, gotta feel for the guy. But yeah, you just pointed him out. Ricky Hart there. The 64 truck takes new tires, and he is going to be flying, you got to think, on this next run. No damage, fresh rubber, 20, I think it's going to be 19 laps to go, maybe 18 off the restart. He is not out of it yet. And remember, he's only 4 points down. So let's put your playoff bracket back up just to get a reminder and give me a bit of a refresher on where we're sitting in terms of the point situation. So Foster is not out of contention, sitting there in 13th, not where he needs to be to keep up with these guys in points. So Hillbrands would currently be in pretty comfortably. So Nickerson, Welch, both sitting in first and third. They are through as of right now. Hillbrands would take over that fourth spot, provided a new driver does not win tonight's event in the playoffs to take home that second spot in the winners column. And then I think it's got to be Foster next currently, though I think Hart is going to make some forward progress there and open that gap up a little bit. And then again, it's just Lacey for the win. Lacey sitting there in 7th. So there is your situation right now. And yeah, I'm going to throw it again. Maybe not even just for the win, though that'll definitely factor into the answer. But new question there for the chat and everybody watching at home. And again, we appreciate so much for all of you guys. And I'm looking at all the interactions. You guys are helping me keep on track, make sure I'm bringing people up. But now's the question. I'm going to ask to everybody, not just who's going to win, but feel free to put your winner's pick. But who do you think is making the final round? Put 4 drivers in the chat, or I guess 3, because Bret's already in. 3 drivers. What 3 drivers in tonight's playoff countdown or playoff finale before the championship round? Who do you think is making the final 4? Chris, very quickly before we go green, I'll throw it to you. Who do you think?
I'm going Nick, Cody, and Ricky. Ricky's going to get it done here. He's on those fresh tires. He's going to be coming quick.
Some confidence in Ricky Hart, and I don't think that's a bad plan at all, but we are good to go green. Nick, Tony, front row, then it's Bibbins and Welch. Green flag for the EvanWallMedia.com 125 at Myrtle Beach. The final round of the round of 8. Hogan slides in late. He gets through the inside of Bibbins. Here comes Lacey, though. Lacey going with him. Bibbins, I think Hogan almost looked on the inside of Welch. Again, I'm wondering if there's something going on between those two, because the margins have been razor thin between the 88 and the 85. But Lacey going to actually drop back a little bit. Might not get Bibbins, though he does now. Better run off the corner for the 7 than the 76. So Lacey up into the top 5. But again, a win is all he cares about. But right now, Nick still on rails. That 2 truck has just been looking great tonight at Myrtle Beach. And that is who he needs out of the equation right now. Nick, a good run across the line. So getting towards the finish, about 20 coming up towards 20 laps to go here. And not much time left. This is when guys start getting desperate. If we go green to the end here, we only got 8 minutes to the finish. So now is the time. Guys got to start making moves happen. Remember, currently, Nickerson, Hillbrands, and Welch all comfortable with where they are. That top 3, they would make the playoffs in this current setup. But Benjamin, he is the wild card. Looking to the inside of Hogan, who's blocking hard to the inside. I might be trying to put the bumper to the 85 of Welch. I'm wondering, because just the way he's driving, he is just sending it to the inside. Here he goes. Might get a shot here to turn number 3. And this might open up the door for Lacey, who I'm sure Welch would like to block, just to keep him out of the equation. Cody's probably pretty comfortable with where he's sitting right now, but that is not going to be the case if the 88 makes a progress. The 88's getting into him. The 88's trying to, I don't know if he's trying to turn him or just trying to get under his skin, trying to get him out of the way, but we're starting to see the bumpers coming out, Chris.
Oh, yeah, and another thing you want to keep an eye on, keep that Jaws music. That 64 truck is moving, and right behind him for that playoff spot, just 1 spot behind, Kevin Foster. These guys need, what, 4 spaces in between them, 4 spots on track in order for, or 5 rather, for Ricky to transfer, and there's not a lot of spots in front of him, but man, that 64 truck is hauling the mail.
Yeah, I saw a couple people already in the chat picking Ricky, and that is not a bad pick whatsoever. Keep an eye on that 64 truck, but right now it is Hogan and Welch duking it out again. Hogan finally to the inside, gets a bit of daylight there, and sends that 88 truck under. Are we going to go 3 wide into 3? Lacey, I think, thought about a move, but backs out of it. Not a bad run either from Jason Greenwell, who's staying in the conversation here. So plenty of guys swirling around here. But as we come towards, I believe we just passed the 20 laps to go point. I know you said, Chris, this is about the time you might have to leave the event. So if that is the case, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you. Great to have your perspective tonight, and what a race it's been. Thanks for joining us, and I have the feeling you're gonna want to watch this race back as soon as you can, because what a finish we're about to have.
Absolutely, thank you for having me, and I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed this one. This is going to be a good one to finish.
Awesome, thank you so much, Chris. We'll do you justice here to the very end, because what a race it's been. Hogan goes around. Hogan gets turned. Foster's in it. His championship is over. Turned with 17 to go. He is off track. Just like that, right as we have to say goodbye to Christopher, things get even crazier. Wow. There is a contender out of the conversation. Benny Hogan turned late there. Caution number, I think 9. No, that's caution number 10, double digits. Well on pace for my 11 that I had predicted there before. But let's go to your full send racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. One more time here. So the 88 truck there in the Kellogg's entry, the Cornflakes truck on the inside. So Hart bumps Greenwell out of the way. Gets real aggressive on the bottom side. The 88 goes back down to take the lane and finds himself spun around, gets into the quarter panel of Foster. Just like that, Kevin Foster's title hopes are done. And Benny Hogan's hopes for maybe not a win, but at least a podium. Like, he was looking quick tonight. They go down the drain, I think, pretty decently with that. He's currently sitting in 13th on pit road. Should finish the race, but look at the damage to that back left part of the truck. Just not looking favorable there for him, so he'll take new tires and get reset. But here we go. Another restart here. That's going to be what? Getting to... what is that? Well, that'll be 11 on the night, but I'm trying to think of how many we've had with Nick from the lead, who's really been the dominant truck, I think, from the starts off the jump here. You know, guys like Ricky, guys like Cody, when they were starting restarts, they were getting good jumps, they were breaking away, but it would always be Nick or somebody else reeling them back in. Nick just hasn't really had that. You know, Tony's been quick, Tony's been competitive, but he hasn't really been reeling him in for potentially the win tonight, though again, he doesn't need it. Tony's done everything he's had to tonight to just put himself in playoff contention, you know, make up the points he needs to be above the cutoff there. And again, the last thing Tony wants right now is a Benjamin Lacey win, because that's, I think, really at this point, all that can kick him out here. And yeah, just a real shame if that is the case for Tony, because what a drive it's been, but it'd be well earned for Lacey. And they're going to be starting bumper to bumper. Lacey's going to be starting right behind him here on the restart, depending on what lane Nickerson opts for. Lights in the pace truck still on. We're going to go around one more time. I'm going to take this opportunity while we have a chance before what might be one of our last restarts of the race. We're going to go to you know, something important to the series, something I love, and something we have a bit of an update for. Bandit merch, everybody. I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet, and I'd never want this to sound overly commercial, overly pandering, because it's really not meant to be. We just think this is a really fun thing we have. And I know there's been a lot of requests for some specific stuff. I know driver merch, we got plenty of drivers who people would take interest in getting stuff for. I've said in the past, we need Cody Welch merch sooner rather than later, and you never know, in 2 weeks time that could be Cody Welch champion merch. But again, I don't want to jinx him, but we got new stuff as well. You're going to see the video here. We got our driver roster t-shirts, sweaters, hats, water bottles, glasses, anything on there. Check it out. But we're also adding phone cases now. They are now up on the website since this video was recorded. So phone cases. You want a Bandit Racing League phone case, everybody? They come in both Androids and iPhones. We got both phones. We can support either size. And yeah, they're hard cases. They're great. They're not breakable cases, and or non-breakable cases, I should say. Stellar quality, always great stuff, always made near cost. I know the cost there isn't Canadian, but for you guys down there in America that don't use our loony bucks, that is something like 20% less. So great stuff there at banditmerch.com. The link is as always in the description. Go check it out. Go get yourself some cool stuff. But we need to finish this event first. And green flag for Nick Nickerson. Leads the field to green. Tony didn't get going quite as much as he did. Tony gonna back off a little bit. Lacey side by side with Welch off the restart. Still green for the time being. Still green. Lacey clears Welch. Benjamin Lacey's up to third. Hart down the inside of Welch. Holy cow, he's sending it. The 64 truck going for broke. The 64 and the 7 know what they need to do. Know they need to fight. And right now, fighting they are indeed. Hart gets the spot done on Welch. Now it's Hillbrands under attack from Lacey. Up front, still comfortable for Nick for the time being, but that might not be the case much longer. What a race it's been so far. Remember, Hillbrands still currently in that spot, but if Hart or Lacey can take the win, or if Hillbrands loses about 5 to 6 spots, Hillbrands would lose that final playoff spot in the final 4. But what a fight. Oh, who was that? That was John Graham got loose. Graham into Hogan. Do we have a caution? We do. Sorry, Graham into Gross. Caution number 11 comes out. 11 was what I'd guessed. The lucky number 11. And that might be, well, a savior for anybody not named Nick Nickerson there in that top 5. A great jump for the 2 truck that time by. He was just flying off the restart there. And unfortunately, he's gonna have to come to a stop, get set up for another restart. Not making it easy tight out on the 2 truck, but gonna go to a replay here. Gonna go a little bit further ahead. Full send racing replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Here is Nolan Gross here in the 05 truck into turn number 1. So John Graham went around first, I think with a little bit of help from Bivens. The 05 truck checks up, David Lakey into the back of him, and suddenly that 05 truck is looking a lot worse for wear. But what a race it's been for Nolan Gross tonight. Feel really bad for the guy. It's yeah, not been the event I'm sure he would have liked, but very little of it was as a result of his doing. that was just a case of John Graham getting loose. It's that classic turn one braking zone that's proved so tough for some guys tonight and proved killer again for him. So just what a race, man. What do you even say? What a night it's been. We have a couple laps here under yellow. We're going to see if we can take a quick jump down to somebody in truck. I don't want to grab somebody who's up in the top 5 here who really needs this next restart because I don't want to distract somebody. See if we can pull somebody else into the booth for a change. Maybe Jason Greenwell. We haven't talked to Jason Greenwell in a while. We'll throw him up in the side split here and see if he's got time to talk. Just 2 seconds here. Just get it set up. And again, if we don't have enough time and it'll be close and cutting it close for him, then we won't put Jason under pressure. But if we have 2 laps to go, we'll bring him in for just a quick moment. Okay. Don't know what's going on here. There we go. Okay, just getting Skype set up for us. Okay, we'll see if we can bring him in for a second. Again, if we don't have enough time, unfortunately, we'll have to shy away from the interview. But check the lights in the pace truck. Are they off? They are not. We're going to go to Jason very quickly here for a bit of an in-truck interview with the guy sitting in 6th at the moment. First non-playoff driver. Hey, Jason, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy, Marshall. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. It has been a barn burner race tonight. I know everybody at home's having fun. Hopefully you guys here are fighting through the cautions. And I know we're going back green just a moment, but you're running a great race tonight. You've been up there in the top 10 all night. You're the first non-playoff driver there sitting in 6th. Very quickly, 5 laps to go. What are you expecting here to finish it off at Myrtle Beach?
I expect you'll see some fireworks up front there with differences in tires that people have. And, oh no, just hoping we keep her clean here to the end.
That is all we can ask. Jason, it's been a great run tonight. We just wanted to jump in quickly and wish you the very best of luck. I know guys are going to be supporting you there, and you're representing the non-playoff guys, so we wish you the very best of luck. Get set up there, and we will maybe see you after the race.
All right, thanks much.
There we go. He is ready to go. Jason Greenwell back into his channel, and keep an eye on there. Your first non-playoff driver. Wish we could have talked to him longer, but we need to go green. Here we go. Nickerson, Hillbrands, Hart, Lacey. Green flag here at Myrtle Beach for, again, the final race of the round of 8. Can Lacey or Hart pick up the win and make it to the finale, or is Tony Hillbrands going to the final 4? Nickerson, another good jump. We're 4 to go this next time by. Sorry, no, even 3 to go. 2 to go this next time by. I got to keep track of the laps. 2 laps to go. And remember, if we go to the white flag, there will be no more cautions. 2 laps to go. If we go 1 more lap, the race is over. Gary Wright is off track. Will we get a caution? He's in the infield grass, but we keep going. Hart needs the win. Does not need this move. Just needs the win on Nick. Slides it in there. Gets into Hillbrands. Hillbrands almost goes around. Stays on track. That might have saved his championship. White flag. 1 more lap to go. Can Nick, who did not win a race in this round for the first playoff round in Bandit Racing League's last 3 seasons, is this his time? It might be. David Lakey's gone around further back. Hart's going to go up to 2nd. Lacey's going to get 3rd. But Nick Nickerson, your winner, win number 9 at Myrtle Beach, locks himself into the final 4. And I believe, as hard as they tried, Ricky Hart did everything he could. Benjamin Lacey did everything he could. But I believe Tony Hillbrands, with that run, he's going to pull right off track, doesn't want to risk a penalty. I believe he is in the final 4. What a drive, what a race. And I believe we have your championship 4 locked up. But what an event, what a win. And Nick Nickerson, in a race of chaos where it felt like nothing could go right for anybody, nobody could rely on anything solidly, Nick was the one constant. And what a drive. 2 races to go. He's got 1 super speedway and 1 super competitive 1.5-mile intermediate track at Charlotte. And he is going for that 2nd championship in a row. Number 2 truck, trying to make it 2 championships. He's going to run a couple more laps. He's on like lap number 3 here. But what a race. Nick Nickerson, congratulations, man. He is back. We got 2 weeks off, but the champ returns. There we go. Parks it on victory lane. And Benjamin Lacey and Ricky Hart. What a run for both gentlemen. Heartbreakingly close. Wow. Just wow. I cannot fathom tonight's event. They're going to park it 3 wide on the line. Good to see, man. Just, whoa. Just what an event. There are your top three. Nick's having some internet trouble, so we're going to decide on Ricky's side here and stick with him. But wow. Hopefully you guys all had as great of an event tonight as I did. Had so much fun because, well, we have your championship 4, and what a well-deserved win it was tonight for your race winner. The guy that was all but locked in, all but comfortably going to make it in regardless, but Nick did what he had to do and came up clutch just to make that little bit of extra, certainty for himself, and picks up the win tonight at Myrtle Beach, the second playoff winner of the round. Just putting up his info here, and we are getting ready for your first interview immediately with your race winner, and we will confirm your final results here in the playoffs in just a moment, but we're pretty confident, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But heartbreakingly close for a couple guys. Ricky Hart and Benjamin Lacey did absolutely everything they had to. Well, let's go to your race winner tonight, Mr. Nick Nickerson. Mr. Nickerson, is Marshall up in the broadcast booth? You got a copy?
How's it going, man?
It is going well. I don't know if you're doing some point stuff there, if you're good to go. I think we know on the broadcast here what we got the situation with for the playoffs and for the Final Four, so we can talk about that in just a moment. But Nick, number 9, man, you're back. I was going to say, it was something in the back of my head, but if we had a playoff round where the 2 truck didn't make it to victory lane, that would be the first time, I think, in the time I've been in the series. So, Nick, no matter how chaotic the race got, you were the one constant there up front. What was it tonight? It seemed like nobody early could hold on to the lead. It felt like it was always the guy on the attack that was in the advantageous spot, but you locked it down there up front. What was working for you?
I just felt very comfortable running the bottom line and not getting sideways. To be honest, had Cody not went too hot into turn 1 and slid up the track and allowed me to get by, I probably would not have gotten by him very easily. Because I was a little bit faster than him going in entry, but he was able to get such a good run out that I couldn't really do anything. And, I was getting attacked at the same time as trying to attack, so I couldn't do run the high line and, apex out late and try to get a run on the straightaway. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only real reason I got the lead is because Cody made one kind of a fatal maneuver there that sent him up the track.
Yeah, sometimes
gave me the lead, and he kind of ran away with it at that point.
Yeah, the one thing I think we've learned in this series is don't give Nick Nickerson the lead, because we were saying it all race when Chris was in the booth. He was like, yeah, whenever I see Nick pull about a half-second lead away, I just get worried because those gaps very rarely close back up. And just a stellar drive from start to finish. And I'm curious to know, because I'm sure you kind of kept a pulse on what was happening behind you, where guys were, knowing that Ricky and Ben needed to win. They needed to win in that position with where Tony was sitting on track. They had to go for the win. Would any party have been nervous if those guys got a couple more tenths, had a couple more laps, and were just racing here for purely the win?
Yeah, if they were on fresher tires than me, I mean, there comes a point, because I don't want to lose my playoff position, from trying to win a race, when really winning a race doesn't really matter for me at this point. So, I mean, if they were on fresher tires and they were really barking down a tree, I probably would have just let them by. I mean, it's win a race or move on to the final playoffs. That's kind of the debate at that point. So I wouldn't have raced them too hard.
Yeah, and you didn't need to. Luckily, the way it worked out is no matter how many restarts you had to do, you pulled away from all of them, and just another Nick win. I feel like you always win races that are exciting, but you are very rarely involved in the excitement. I think that says something about just the way you drive and your ability to stay out of chaos. And certainly the guys that had some fun races tonight, like Cody, like Bret and Kevin, had their own difficulties as a result. So I think the way you did it tonight was probably the best. But we're pretty confident now. We know the 4. It's going to be yourself, Bret Guzik, who locked himself in before, Cody Welch, and a poster on my wall just fell over. And Cody Welch. That is Cody Welch, Tony Hillbrands, Bret Guzik, and yourself. That is the final 4. So what are your thoughts on that 4? Is that one you're feeling good about? And what do you think, Talladega and Charlotte, with that group?
I mean, I said it since the beginning of the playoffs, you can't plan for what's about to happen. I mean, Talladega can go really good for you or really badly, or it can just set you a couple points behind. And, if say Cody, Bret, and I and Tony, we all finished 2nd through 4th in Talladega. Now going into the Charlotte, you're not guaranteed the championship if you win the race. You know, like if you're say like if I finished fourth and Bret finished second, if I won the race, Bret could finish second and still win the championship. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not really going to hurt my feelings if I don't get the championship. It's just I'll try my hardest and see what happens. You know, it's just how the way this game is played, you know.
Knowing that coming into this season, especially after last year, one of the best years I've ever seen in any full series of any iRacing league. Like last year was your season in the Xfinity cars. You brought it over this year, 9th win of the season tonight. Does any part of you feel like if Talladega and Charlotte don't go your way, that it in any way, you know, devalues the playoff format to not have you be the champion? Or do you think that it's your responsibility in this setting to do what you did tonight, be clutch when you have to? And do you think whoever comes out of that Final Four is worthy for having to fight under pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I bet you ask anybody, like the real champion would probably be somebody that won almost half the races. But that's just not how this setup works. It's playoffs, it's elimination rounds. I mean, NASCAR is not the only place you see that. You see that in like NHRA and all of like, you know, ball sports and stuff. So I mean, it's just the way the game is. I mean, you can be great all year long and still lose the championship. You know, a pit strategy, you know, or I don't know. There's a multitude of things, a multitude of ways of losing one race, thus losing the championship. So I'm just going to try to minimize that, and we'll see what happens, you know.
Yeah. And in terms of late season performance, you've won 3 of the last 6 races. It's not like you're falling off here late in the year. So.
Yeah, well, you know, Charlotte I'm not worried about too much. I mean, but Talladega, if there was any worry, it would be there. It's not necessarily worry. It's more of like, I just hope I don't, you know, get caught up in something else, which is like, there's more of a chance of that happening than not.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to be honest, Nick. If I were in your position going into the Final Four at Talladega, I would not sleep for the next 7 days. I would be terrified. Yeah. So I sympathize with you very heavily.
Well, I mean, there's just not much you can do about it. I mean, you can run as many laps as you want, and it ain't going to make any difference. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean, if the final race was Charlotte, then I'd be like, yeah, I'd be a little worried because I have to make sure that I am faster than everybody. But we'll just have to see what I have to do at Charlotte after Talladega.
Right.
You know?
Well, I say this to everybody at home with every fiber of my being. Watch next week at Talladega. That is going to be... A nutty race from start to finish, but so was tonight. It was a great one, and again, Nick, you win a really fun race, and again, 9 on the season. You could go for 10 in the final 2 rounds. Could potentially be at Charlotte. Would be a nice kind of even way to cap off the year. So just there you go, Nick. You know the deal now. You've done this 9 times now, and arguably 10 because we did your first place interview at Pocono, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition. So arguably 10 from your perspective. We'll see, but. Whatever it may be, you know what we do, shout outs, and if you want to talk about the end of the year, do whatever you want.
Yeah, man, just got to thank, you know, Big Red Propane, TechNet, Perfect Shine Auto Spa, everybody that watches the broadcast. I'm starting to read the comments now. I always love going back and trying to catch it before you close the race so I can kind of see what people are saying. And everybody that races this league, you know, it's a blast. I know these short tracks are kind of sometimes hard to watch, but hopefully it was still kind of fun. I know us top 5 or so. We're putting on a pretty decent race there for a while. And Marshall, man, I appreciate your broadcasting, man. You know, wish we can do it every single week of every week of the year. But, you know, I know we're going to need a little break here pretty soon. I need a break from sim racing, man. Like, we're just going at this too hard for too long. Hey. I need a couple weeks.
Hey, see, I'm the opposite. I finally today got both my exams for school done. We are done for about a month. I got some time on the sim now. We got to have that race we were talking about on Mount Washington. I don't care what it is. Throw the new F1 car on there, man. Let's make something work and do something fun. And I got to race you one of these days because sorry.
I was gonna say, as much downforce as that new Mercedes F1 car, I imagine it's gonna go up that mountain no problem.
Oh yeah,
that thing is ridiculous.
Oh, I'm so pumped. We'll make it happen in the next couple of weeks. But take a week off, Nick. Get mentally prepared for Talladega and going for the title. Trying to make it back to back. You got 2 races left to do so.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Hey, take care.
The man himself, Nick Nickerson, win number 9 on the year. And what a year it has been. Yeah, that just says something. No matter how chaotic it gets, Nick still finds a way to come out on top. So there you go. First interview of the night is done with your race winner. But now on to second place. And arguably an even more interesting one from a guy who didn't win the race, but Came so darn close. I don't even want to put that up by accident because I feel bad saying it. He came so darn close, but was unfortunately eliminated from the Bandit Racing League playoffs. Just a sec. There we go. I hate to have to put it up there, but he came so darn close. I feel so bad for the guy right now, man. I can't even put it into words. I'll get him up on Skype here if he's up here, which I believe he should be. Usually is. There's our boy Ricky. Poor guy. But we'll get his thoughts. The least we can do is end off what has been a great season for him. End it off on a high and get his perspective. So, just a moment here. There we go. We got him up on Skype. We're about ready to go. There he is. Ricky Hart Jr., second place finisher tonight at Myrtle Beach. Let's get him in the booth. Hey, Ricky, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Marshall, what's up?
Oh, we just witnessed a race for the ages there. That was such a fun event, but in the end, come up one spot short. Unfortunately, that is the end of the journey there with the night that Tony had. But just overall, Ricky, to get that close and to come back like you did there on new tires late, just what's the feeling right now? What's going through your head?
I'm bummed. But no, I mean that's racing, you know. We you know, I'd love to be racing for a championship the next round, but you know, it is what it is. Come back next season, try again. I mean, it's not going to stop me from running these last two races as hard as I've been running this whole season. Hope to go out there at Talladega, win one. Hope to go out there at Charlotte and, you know, maybe finish out on a high note and win these two races.
Just talking about the track tonight in Myrtle Beach, it was kind of going to be a wild card no matter what to end off the round. But early on, it seems like you had the handle on it. You know, you got by Cody there after a little mistake from him early in the event. You led early, and then it just seemed like with all the cautions and Nick getting by there fairly towards the middle of the race, it seemed like something wasn't clicking there for anybody that wasn't the two truck.
Yeah, I got the lead there early. I think with I don't know, lap 20, somewhere around there. It was good to go till about lap 50. And we had to come in, we had to pit because we weren't going to make it on fuel. You know, we were going to be a couple of laps shy. So we had to come in, we got tires, we got fuel to kind of put us back a little bit. Running in the back was just tough. You know, you're letting off it at the start-finish line as opposed to kind of diving it in when you're up front and controlling the race. And you're more worried about everybody that's around you and just getting through unscathed. Unfortunately, one of the restarts we had, something happened and it was a delayed green, and a driver in front of me slowed up. I got into the back of him, so it messed up my nose just a little bit. And then when we went back to green at the end of the run, I realized my water temps were up around 280, so I had to dive back into pit road. So that kept me in the back. But I mean, the handling never went away. It was just getting in traffic and trying to get around those guys. It's tough. Practice times, we were all the drivers were within a half a second of each other, so you knew it was going to be hard to pass. You knew the track position was gonna be key. Unfortunately, we didn't have that tonight, and race ran out at lap 125. I was on the freshest ones there at the end. I feel like if I had maybe 10 more, I would have had something for him there.
Definitely think you did with the pace you had there at the end, and you're getting some hearts, some thumbs up there on Skype, so clearly somebody's there giving you some support. But you know, you always are in the chat as well. We had so many people all throughout the group. We asked a couple times both who was going to win and who did people think was making the Final Four, and your name came up quite a bit. So I think it was just the way the race worked out that I think got away from you tonight. But we know, you know, a champion 2 seasons ago came so darn close again last year. This year you proved that you're just as much of a fighter, picked up multiple wins throughout the year. Just overall, finishing off the year, how would you summarize this season for yourself in the trucks with 2 races left to go, and what is the hope for next season going back to Xfinity?
Yeah, this season was tough. There was a lot of competition out there. I think I did all right. I had, you know, 2 wins to my name. I got another one, you know, based off of some penalties, which whatever there. But I don't know. Going into this next season, I'm gonna need to really, I don't know, throw up a lot more practice laps. I gotta bring something for Nick. We can't let him get out there and win. I don't even know how many he's got now. 8?
That's 9. 10 if you include
9.
Pocono.
Oh, it's 9. That's it.
Yeah.
10. Well, I'm not including Pocono.
No, I was gonna say.
So I mean, yeah, we just got to get out there. We got to find out what he's doing. I got a couple changes to my setup coming, so I'm hoping maybe that'll help.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get rid of VR next season, so you guys will be able to see my happy face the whole time, and maybe I'll be able to. My engine just blew.
It did. That was cool.
Maybe I'll be able to see a little bit more of. Man, I told you the temps were getting up there.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, so we'll see how I do with triple screens next season, and being able to focus a little bit more. I'm hoping the higher hertz might be able to help a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, I promise you, Ricky, we get about 20 requests every week saying my biggest problem with the broadcast is I can't see Ricky Hart's beautiful face. So to have that fixed for next season is going to certainly bring in some new viewers, and it's going to be sad to see the headset go, though. I always appreciate guys that race in VR, and I don't know. I give them a little bit more props. Definitely more immersion, more of the real thing. It's like people who use controllers in racing games versus wheels, and you've just gone the extra step further. So all things considered, Ricky, it's genuinely a shame to see you not make it into the Final Four there. I think of anybody with the 2 tracks we were going to head to with both Talladega, where you've been quick at all super speedways in the past, but also heading to a mile and a half. You won one earlier this season, so it really sucks, Ricky. But overall, just to kind of wrap up your thoughts, and especially getting to this point in the year, if there's anybody specific you want to shout out, any sponsors you want to mention, anything like that, you know what to do, man.
Materia Tattoo, like always, everybody that watches, Kristen and Bruno, Mike, Jack, my whole family, anybody that's out there watching, cheering me on, you guys are awesome. I have fun, on the back end, just texting and talking about the race after with those guys. Everybody that I race with, I have a great time every Wednesday night coming in, talking to you, talking to everybody. We'll sit here for a couple hours after the race and just shoot the proverbial shit, I guess. And so I just love it. It's a good time. Really looking forward to next season, and I'm looking forward to these next 2 races, watching how this plays out. Hopefully I can ruin somebody's day, brighten somebody's day before the season's over. We'll see. Well,
I'm never going to ask people to go after specific people, but Ricky, I think you know what's going to make for a fun end of the year and what's not. So I give you the utmost trust, but I know you're a great guy, and you've proven this season that you're one of the most deserving in the series to be in the Final Four. So to come this close it's a shame to see, but you've had such a great year that cannot be understated. And again, Ricky, don't give up. 4 wins has a nice ring to it. Give him hell next week at Talladega.
All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ricky.
See you, Marshall.
There you go. Unfortunately, Ricky Hart Jr. is out of the playoffs for this season, but a 3rd place tonight. Spirited performance. Really did everything I think we could have expected from him, seeing how quick Nick was late, seeing how the race fell. I don't know what he would have done much different if he had another chance, but unfortunately, we will not get to see until next season. Finally, though, tonight, your 3rd place finisher on the podium, another guy eliminated from the playoffs. It is 3rd place finisher Benjamin Lacey, who, again, needed to win tonight the way the playoffs were set up. Tonight was big for him. Unfortunately, doesn't come away with the win, but for everything he went through tonight, to come back to where he finished, not bad at all. Can't complain with that in the slightest. So let's bring him in the broadcast booth. Benjamin Lacey, your final interview. Hey, Bandit's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. Hey, Benjamin, it was such a fun race to watch tonight. You, I think, went through the most adversity I've ever seen of anybody who's still come back to finish on the podium. Unfortunately, though, knowing you needed the win for the playoffs, to come just short is, I'd imagine it's pretty heartbreaking. But tonight, nothing seemed to go your way, but you fought through it. What was tonight like from your perspective?
That first spin that I had, I think was like lap 9 or 10. That was kind of the backbreaker from the beginning. If I would have probably been able to keep that straight going through, might have had to change our luck a little bit tonight. But like you say, fought back. Had to pull a page out of Cody's book. Start off decent, then fall back and come back to the front, and then I think I did it again. So it was tough, but congrats to Nick and all the other playoff drivers. I don't really know who they are right now. At the moment, it's probably Cody, Bret, Tony, I think.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it was fun. I was trying to go for the win. Had a good tire strategy there at the end, and then was about ready to make a move on Tony, and then the caution came out and stacked us all up again with just a couple to go.
Yeah, and talking about that last run to the line there, knowing that you and Ricky both were going for the win at that point in the race, you guys were dicing through everybody. I think guys like Cody and Tony were somewhat cognizant of that, but you guys were just picking them off with great moves. Do you think a couple more laps, or had something gone different, or had you taken tires a little bit later, do you think you had a shot at being the ones to dethrone the two truck there up front?
I think if we'd have been able to stay green, except for that last caution, I think if we would have stayed green, I think I might be able to get around Tony, because I was about ready to pinch him down the inside because he was blocking that pretty good. So I was going to get up on his quarter panel and just kind of pinch. And then, because I knew I had fresher tires than him and Nick both, and I think Ricky was still far enough behind that I could have held him off for a little while and hopefully get around Nick. And that was really the only shot that I saw coming through. Then once that caution came out, I figured didn't have enough laps to get there.
Looking back at your season, Benjamin, if in terms of battling for the championship, trying to get back in the Final Four like you were last season, the fact that this is the end, I think, is really unfortunate. I think had it not been for Eldora, had you had a couple more points under your belt coming into tonight, I think it definitely could have been a fight potentially to get back in there, seeing how well you finished in the end. But just overall, you had some really fun wins. One of the few guys this season to take away multiple wins. Had one on strategy, had one on just great pace. I think you are the best strategic driver in this series. You just seem to always, whatever you are doing seems to be the optimal strategy in any given race, and you bring that aspect to the series. But as you come to the end, how would you reflect on the season? How would you cap off your season 9 as a whole, and what should we expect from the 7 truck or 7 car going into season 10 next year?
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers here that have some pretty decent strategy. Cody always comes up with some random stuff. You're like, what is he doing? And then you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. It kind of catches you a little bit, and there's a lot of that. So, sometimes you got to think outside the box and just kind of say, okay, if they're doing this, I'm going to do that. That's been kind of some of the things that I'll look at. But, missing Eldora was kind of huge. But obviously that fell like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I was on the road, so wasn't able to make that. But, and then last week was pretty rough too with Darlington. Ended up like about 15 laps to go. Ended up getting knocked out of that one too. So that kind of blew, but it is what it is. And we were able to march back and put a good finish today. Hopefully build up some momentum and maybe play spoilers for the rest of it going forward. Yeah,
Ricky said he was planning on doing the same thing. So there's some unanimous agreement there that that's the plan for the next 2 races. But yeah, just overall, it's been a really fun season watching you this year, and being a Final Four guy last year, coming very close, that 1 or 2 spots away this season to making the Final Four again. In my mind, you're definitely one of the most elite drivers in the series. I think you've definitely offered skills that are seen very rarely by anybody else in the series. So you're so fun to watch week in and week out, and just what do you think is the plan for the future? Going into next season, you had the Final Four last year, coming this close this year. Is there anything you're going to change in your approach to next season to make it back there and go for the title?
What car are we running? The Xfinity?
Xfinity,
again? Yeah. So the Xfinity, we just got done running that. Pretty familiar with that car. It's a lot of fun to drive. You got to be kind of driving more with your feet rather than just the wheel, like with the trucks and the Cup cars. So I think that kind of plays into a strength a little bit, being able to control that. So obviously you just got to fine tune that in there, and then one of the things too is just always being able to run consistent lap times and be more consistent on that. And work schedule this year didn't exactly allow me to get into much of the practices, so hoping maybe next season might be able to get a little bit of a schedule change on that and make some more of those practices. If we can get into more of those practices with the guys, it might make a little bit of a difference.
Awesome. Whatever we can do, Benjamin, to have you week in and week out competing for the win, because I love to see it again. You had some great finishes. The one that comes to mind, you and Bret at Dover was one of the finishes of the year. That was such a fun race. So to have races like that week in and week out is worth it enough. And it's a shame to see you won't be racing for the Final Four for the title, but what a year it's been for you. Just cap it off. If you got any shout outs you want to give to anybody, sponsors you want to mention, anything you want to say, now's your time to do so, man.
Yeah, you guys, you, Marshall, I think Chris was in there with you tonight. Yep. And then, Evan pops in every now and then. So you guys do such a great job broadcasting. So just appreciate that, the work that you guys do. It's not an easy task to do at all. So respect. And then Bill and the admins for the league, man, pushing us up. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Benjamin. I sincerely appreciate it. And just, again, what a season it's been for you. What a race tonight at Myrtle Beach. Did everything you could. But again, if you like the Xfinity cars and you already picked up 2 wins this season, I'd be terrified if I'm any other driver in the series to see what you do next year. So best of luck on behalf of the channel, and yeah, to give him heck the next 2 weeks at Talladega and Charlotte, because your year's not over. Go try to interrupt those playoff drivers if you can.
10-4.
Sounds good. Thank you, Benjamin.
Absolutely.
There we go, Benjamin Lacey, your final interview of the night here at Myrtle Beach, and threw the absolutely in there at the end. I don't know if that was a reference to my old signature catchphrase. I'm actually curious to know when the last time I said absolutely was. That used to be kind of my thing, my broadcast tick that I couldn't get rid of. So cool that I've gotten rid of that, and we'll see what it's replaced with in the next couple weeks or in the future. But wow, what a race. That was a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. Wish Chris could still be with us here at the end, because it's so great to have him. Chris does so much for the series behind the scenes. You guys have seen him in the chat before. He's a great guy. Driver of the number 13 track. You heard the jokes before. Chris's win is coming sooner rather than later. Honestly, Chris Ferrara, decent pick, I'd say, for Talladega. I think definitely a guy to watch out for. So Chris, the pressure is on. We'll see what we get in the booth next week. We'll definitely make sure we have somebody with 2 races to go. We'll see if Eddie Hagee wants to come back. We'll see if Evan's available. Unfortunately, he was not tonight, but I have to guess what way. It's this way? Yeah, there it is. Logo. EvanWallMedia.com sponsored tonight's race. Evan Wall Media. We love him. He's always here on the channel. Again, former broadcaster of the series. For those of you who are more recent, who have just joined with us, first of all, thank you for joining some way throughout the season since I took over broadcast duties. But just a reminder where Evan and I started off. Evan did the broadcasting for this series for season 7 and 8. He kind of went through a revolving door of commentators there that first season, and then he brought me in for season 8. That was where I got my start in the Bandit Racing League. So I've been here since the start of season 8. Brought me in. What a fun season it was last year. We had such a fun dynamic between the two of us, and shame to see that he's been as busy this year as he has for this season. But I totally get it. School has been crazy, and work and everything like that. He's had some really cool opportunities. So totally get it, but his brand is so important to us, and everything he does all the graphics for the series. Again, a reminder, anything you ever see on screen that isn't generic timing tower stuff and telemetry is all him, that he puts together. So just massive props to Evan for everything he does on such short notice. Sometimes he's working on the content for my next series, which is the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series coming this winter. If you're a fan of that, if you come here from that and you're looking forward to that, the official details for that will be posted any day now. I've just been personally very busy. And my exams, like I said earlier, are finally done, so I get to get back in the sim, finally get some racing done of my own. I haven't done a reasonable full week of racing here on iRacing in months, and it makes me really sad, but we'll be back to it, and one day I will run a race in this series, and maybe in the future, if I have a year that just won't work out for broadcasting, I don't know, you might see my 95 truck run a full season here sometime, and gosh, how fun that would be. But we will see. We'll see in the future what comes out. But thank you, Evan Wall. Well, again, one more time, EvanWallMedia.com. The 125 tonight here. What a race it's been. And with that, again, reminder, Bandit merch. Go check it out. New stuff. Phone cases are out. Go check out those on the website. Link's always in the description. Same with the Bandit Racing League Instagram. The link is down in the description as well. If you're not following it, go check it out. New content throughout the week. Chris is updating it with old recaps. So if you're new to the series, you missed some old stuff, you want new info, graphics that we show on the broadcast get shown there first oftentimes. So there's plenty of reasons to go check that out over there. And just generally speaking, thank you to each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. This last couple weeks has been the most fun I've had on the broadcast, I think, ever. You guys have been so much fun, such fun to interact with. 2 races to go, and I cannot wait to finish this season off, because I just want to know who our champion is. With this season, Cody's story. Tony is kind of the dark horse pick late, but I talked about it all throughout the round. I think he was a guy that was going to have a good shot. Was clutch when he needed to be, did everything he had to, and will now race for a championship. Bret Guzik was the first guy in. Didn't have the luck these last 2 weeks, but that 04 truck has the knowledge of racing and the understanding, the experience like nobody else in the series. And the defending champion, 9-time race winner, including tonight at Myrtle Beach, the man himself, Nick Nickerson. There are your 4 for the title, and they will battle it out next week at Talladega and the week after at Charlotte. And remember, it's not your winner at Charlotte. It is not winner take all. This final round is only 2 races, but the most points in those 2 races cumulatively is the winner. I believe the tiebreaker will go to whoever wins that second race. So if we have a tiebreaker, whoever finishes better at Charlotte, don't quote me on that. I believe that is your tiebreaker. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the EvanWallMedia.com 125 at Myrtle Beach tonight. What a race. What a race it's been. We will see you all next week at Talladega in 7 short days' time. And what a season. Hopefully you all enjoyed tonight. We will see you very soon. Have a good night, everybody.